From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LALATE.
It's a big night for an August 31st, 2022, from the shores of Santa Monica, California. The big news tonight as the Fed Cleveland Reserve President says that inflation could be with us for an elevated situation into 2023, and that those Fed rate hikes could continue thereafter. That's why you need to get a forced stimulus check in every U.S. state. In tonight's recording, we're going to go over that huge checks, no less than 12 categories of checks that pay over $100,000. 100 to 200 checks, and we got them in tonight's recording. We have a series of companies giving downward guidance for not just the second quarter, but the whole rest of the year. OMG. We'll go over the latest details across the board. Plus, we're going to preview of those jobless claims coming in tomorrow, what you should expect, the big money of the forced stimulus, the big raise of your benefits if you're on SSI and SSDI, and the housing data that came in the last week and what we should expect on a new week as well. Plus, we'll be going over the latest raise of your benefits, the latest raise that is gauged based upon that CPI raise, and the latest details you need to know. It's been a big week, and the week is heating up across the board. We started the day as well with another Fed governor going over why this economy will deserve more interest rate spikes by the end of the year and how quickly they will grow. The great news is that there's a forced stimulus check in every U.S. state. And in this recording, we'll go over check A, B, and C that pays nearly $100,000 done by executive action passed for the month of March. You qualify. Then we'll jump over to 7 new checks that became law 2 Sundays ago and 2 other checks, L and M, that debut on this channel no less than a week ago. Become a member, Purple Hawk, Purple Power Casino VIP, and in the big second half, stay at the very end, we're going to go over all these incredible checks one at a time. You need these monies because if Nestor's comments out of Cleveland, the Fed governor, is right, that means those interest rate spikes would continue far longer than I anticipated, far longer than Wall Street said with just one interest rate spike, even longer than I said for the end of the year. We're going to go over all that breaking news that Nestor said minutes ago. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, it's a big night. For an August 31st, 2022, it's evenings. Evening, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful night. On tonight's Evenings LA from the shores of Santa Monica, California, for an August 31st, 2022, we have shocking comments that came in minutes ago from the Cleveland Federal Reserve President, Loretta Mester, that says the sometime, S-O-M-E, comments from Jay Powell last week that came in from Williams this morning, different Fed governors means not just a few months, it means into next year. OMG. This is a major shocking breaking news minutes ago. More companies guiding downward across the board. We'll go over the latest details on what they are saying in tonight's LALATE from the shores of Santa Monica, California. Plus, we'll be going over that big money. 12 categories of checks, you qualify. 100 checks to 200 in these 12 categories, and over $100 to $200,000 for you to get. It's a big night. I'm excited you're here. Your benefit raise, your housing market, your forced stimulus, the latest details hitting up from the shores of Santa Monica, California tonight. It's Evenings LA. We have the latest details on that forced stimulus, huge details, because guess what? You deserve it. You want to get it. We're going into 2 years of recession, but tonight we have new indication from Nestor that those interest rate spikes would not be just through the end of the year, maybe further. Become a member, Purple Hawk, Purple Power Casino VIP, and stay to the very end as we go over these incredible checks that viewers are getting with that financial cliff just days away. We have always said on this channel that the financial cliff is a September, stay at the very end, because I have a narrative and a commentary of what you're likely to see from people who haven't gotten those checks. We start tonight, of course, with that major breaking statements from Nestor, the Fed Reserve President out of Cleveland. let me give you the background on this. We had two different narratives over the last month, myself and Wall Street. Wall Street had said that there was going to be a 50 basis point increase from the Federal Reserve to battle inflation in September, and that was going to be it. I said, no, how is that possible? That's possible like a lobster shorts or high fashion. Then I said 75 basis point in September every month thereafter until they get inflation to 2%. Why did I say that? Because we had Boulard, Daly, and then Bowman all saying it's going to happen. They're Fed presidents. Then last Friday, Federal Reserve President himself, Jay Powell, said yes. Consecutive interest rate spikes till we get to 2%, and we're going to stay with it until we're done. For, quote, some time. That was the quote, for some time. What has happened since that quote from Jay Powell last Friday? Well, this morning, Williams came out and said for some time. And then minutes ago, Loretta Mester came out and said for some time. It's clearly a message they want to get out. What did John Williams, Fed president of New York, say this morning? For some time. But he made it very clear that for some time is not a couple days. I had said that Wall Street is in big trouble because Wall Street keeps on saying there's going to be a pivot, that the Federal Reserve is going to stop those interest rate spikes sometime shortly in the fall and pivot and leave inflation alone. No, I said it's not going to happen. They're going to do those interest rate spikes through at least the end of the year until they get inflation to 2%. And 75 basis points was what they're going to do. So what did Jay Powell say last week? I'm going to make this more direct, is what he said. He said you're basically not listening to. What did John Williams say this morning, the Fed president of New York? We need to have this restrictive policy for some time. This is not going to be a short period and then we change course. He's exactly addressing Wall Street. We're not going to pivot and change course. And then by the end of the day, see what's happening? It's a lot of Fed governors in a short period of time. Loretta Mester says, my view is we're going to stay with this for some time. Similar comment. And that we'll necessarily need to do this into next year and hold it there. Oh, boy. She said that the 2% may not be reached by the end of this year and that inflation may not fall to 5.6 to 5 to 6% until next year. And then we'll get to Fed target in subsequent years. Oh, boy. Wait a second. Wait a second. I told you it's a breaking news report. It's a breaking news report. We started last Friday with the Fed saying sometime, but not defining sometime. But I said it's at least December. We had Williams this morning saying again sometime, we're not pivoting. But again, we did not have a definition of sometime. And now Mester saying we may not get to 2% inflation for several years. Oh boy, that means interest rate spikes, not just the end of this December, but potentially end of December 2020, fill in the blank. Very, very shocking breaking news tonight. This, my friends, is why I have to get a forced stimulus check in every USA. There's many reasons why. First, is that inflation is going to be around for several years. You're going to have problems. The milk and egg may not be affordable for several years. The rent may not be affordable. The housing and the labor may not be at where it is. Inflation may be with us for several years. That's why you want to get that forced stimulus check in every US state. Go under this video, become a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Castino VIP. 12 categories of checks that yield 100 to 200 checks, about $100,000 to $200,000. You deserve this big sum of money. Go get it. We're going to go over all these incredible checks in the big second half. Stay with me. How do you get these checks? Step one, you go into the video, join the channel, become a member, Purple Hawk, Purple Power Casino VIP, join LALATE 1 you're watching, or LALATE 2 or LALATE 3, and then stay the second half as we go over each of these incredible checks one at a time. Now, Mester's comments tonight are shocking, but we know what we're in store for because I've been recording for several months. September. September is likely when a financial cliff would hit, and that means that the economy will spiral differently by September. I think Mester's comments are shocking. I think that's enough to scare the socks off of people, and that's why the Dow Jones was down 400 points today. The Dow Jones fell 1,000 points last Friday, fell also yesterday, and will continue to fall until Wall Street realizes that the narrative they were looking for was wrong, that the Federal Reserve is going to pivot across the board. Tomorrow, we'll see the new jobless claims on Mornings LA live on air. I'm expecting that number to come in about flat, 250, 240. Yeah, I expect that to really be basically flat. Not really changing anywhere across the board. We'll have that number on this channel when announced on Mornings live on air. The housing market is already in recession. We learned that again this week and last week. Existing home sales down New home starts down, builders' confidence down, and that's Association of Home Builders saying you're at a recession. And this, my friends, is why you want to get that lifetime stimulus. That's your money. If you're on benefits, we'll go over that money a second. You also want to get those stimulus checks, a lot of money. We're going to go over each of those in just a second. The other major developing detail we're dealing with tonight is the impact of this news on corporate earnings. Corporate earnings came in today, and not just earnings, but also downward guidance. What is guidance? It's basically giving you indication, giving you a roadmap of what those companies are going to do by the end of the year. And they're all downward guiding that we have in the vast majority released tonight, August 31st, 2022. Downward guidance came in left and right. First, Express, the retailer, fell 4.7% in pre-market trading when they cut their full year guidance. Chewy, I think I said Chevy earlier today. Chewy, which is the retailer that ships for dog products and cat products, your pet, down 10.8% as they cut full year guidance. HP missed on forecasts. It was down 7.1%. Snap tumbled 7.2%. Bed Bath & Beyond trimmed 13.9% down. And they filed additional common shares for the future. And then PVH, which is the parent company of Tommy Hilfiger and Calvin Klein, cut guidance for as well. It's just a common narrative. We got some analysis about this from a very smart individual today, and that was Binky Chadka. I would remind the bear market rallies are frequent and large, and that bear markets that have failed to reach new highs and preceding new losses will continue across the board. He says you could be down 14 to 15%. I say you could be down 26 to 27%. That earnings recession was manifest as well with a number that came out today. This is job openings. Let me make this clear. This is not job creations, it's job openings. There's a very big difference. So if an employer has the employees quitting because they want to take another job or because they heard a pop singer song, you know which song it is, then the situation is there's a job opening and not a job creation. The job openings totaled 11.24 million for the month of July, released today, ahead of the 10.3 expected. So there's a big problem. It means there's a lot of jobs, 2 to 1 for this economy, and that continues to manifest itself left and right. And this is why I have to get a forced stimulus check in every U.S. state. Those forced stimulus checks in every U.S. state are huge, done by executive action of Joseph Biden. It's federal stimulus. Let's go over a summary of those checks starting right now. A summary of those incredible checks are at issue, and they have been law since the month of March. Let's look at them right now. You deserve these sums of money. And what are they? They're federal stimulus. Your first, your second, your third stimulus check all came from the Department of Treasury. This is also from the federal government. And it's about $100,000. Single individual, $75,000 less, go get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, go get it. It's from the federal government, not paid by your state, not from your state, and that's why it's in every U.S. state. Eligibility also includes people with children, people without children. You deserve these sums of money. What are they? How do you get them? We'll go over them in the big second half. The money is available, and the details of it are in the membership newsletter delivered Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alerts. Go under this video and get those incredible checks. You deserve these big sums of money. We're going to go over all of them in the big second half. It was 3 stimulus checks in March, then 7 categories of checks. I should say 3 categories of checks in March, 7 categories of checks that became law 2 weeks ago. Then last week, 2 new categories of checks. It's 100 to 200 checks available for you. We'll go over the latest details on those monies in just a second. What's at issue is that your benefits are going up a lot. That's great news. And why? Because inflation is so hot. Let's go over the details of it right now. Your benefits is tied to inflation, and we're going to go over how that is in just a second. And some of you will see 5,000, some of you will see less, some of you will see more. It's a direct deposit, otherwise in the mail. It's law. You don't have to worry about this. We'll go over the calculation right now, but first I want to go over why this is happening across the board. This is happening because inflation has not settled down. That CPI, for example, in the month of March was really hot. Hottest of a generation, 8.6%. Then in the month of July, went even higher. June, 9.1%. Then the July print released last August 10th, Not so hot, but still very warm, 8.5%. Your benefits are going up a lot because these numbers are so high. Let's go over the calculations right now. Inflation was a whopping number in the month of May. How big was it? It was an enormous 8.6%. Then we waited to see that June number. Wow, 9.1% in June. The July number released August 10th, a whopping 8.6%. And this is big news because your benefits are going to go up a lot. Now let's go over why starting right now. Your benefits are tied to something called COLA, C-O-L-A, cost of living adjustment. Every year, COLA determines how much your benefits will go up. I had a great question come in from someone minutes ago. Oh, it was a great question. So do we get that COLA or the benefits? No. The COLA raises your benefits. So let's say you get $10 right now. The COLA could raise your benefits to $10.50. That's an example. COLA determines how much your benefits go up. But how do you determine COLA? COLA is determined by 3 months of the same data. The CPI-W released for the month of July, and that was released August 10th. The August number released September 10th, the September number released October 10th. That CPI released August 10th was a little bit softer on the high end, 8.5, but the component parts were hotter month to month. The salaries, the rent, the milk and eggs all went up month to month. Great news because we need to see 2 more months of data. But in between the CPI prints, we have other data to look at. First, how much you're paying for the goods. Are milk and eggs going up? Jump in the live chat, say yes or no. Are the rent going up? Yes or no. How about the salaries? Yes or no. And how about the gasoline? Gasoline has tracked lower domestic unleaded, but the international price of Brent crude, he's so Brent and he's so crude, are featured in the membership newsletter nightly. The gasoline has pulled down a little bit if you're looking at the domestic number, but the other numbers are basically flat or going up right now. Then the personal consumption expenditure index released last Friday, flat. The PPI, the producer price index, how much the wholesaler pays for the goods, like the supermarket, relatively flat, and the retail sales relatively flat. That's great news because that means your benefits are going up a lot. So then the question is how much? First, everyone's benefits are going up. Second, everyone gets the same percentage raise. Third, the amount they're going up depends on how much your benefits are right now. So what data do we have and what are the predictions so far? Well, the Seniors League, when I look at the situation, says they believe, based upon that 8.5% print for the month of July, your benefits are going up a lot. 10.1% is what they're saying. What am I saying? What are you saying? I think it's a little bit conservative. Gasoline, if you go to Brent crude, is going up every night on the channel. It was 92 last week. It's 102, 104. Domestic unleaded is going down, but the other items are either flat or higher month to month. So I think it looks really good, the 10.1 or actually even hotter. Great news across the board. Remember, this is all detailed in the membership newsletter and certainly in the membership worksheets. I'm going to go over those incredible worksheets right now. If you're a member, you get all of this. How do you get it? Let's start with the incredible membership of this channel. Go under the video, become a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Casino VIP. And then get that membership newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, delivered via YouTube alerts. And when you get that membership newsletter, around the third line in the membership newsletter are the worksheets. Let's take a look at those worksheets right now. Page 1 of the worksheets goes over your inflation, your recession, your labor, and your Federal Reserve. Well, we got a lot to go over that tonight. Inflation. Here are the PDFs. Here's the PDF. You can print it from your cell phone, a computer, download it to any phone in the last 10 years, or you can take notes on a separate piece of paper. What are we looking for that inflation? It looks flat at the moment. We want to see if there's any data that indicates it's going up or that it remains flat. That would be all great for your benefits. Recession. We are in a recession. 2 negative quarters of GDP growth. Recession hurting corporate earnings. Some people saying recession not happening. I'm not going to go with their narrative which involves one data point. We look at more than one data point on this channel. Labor had the new jobless claims tomorrow, but it's likely to just be flat again. 240, 243, 245. And the Federal Reserve. This is where it's most important in this page 1. I said the Federal Reserve is going to have a 75 basis point increase, or at least some major increase in September and every month thereafter, because 8.5% CPI inflation is not going to work with them. They're getting to 2%. I also said that's what they said, with the exception of the 75 basis point increase. And I also said that inflation has not dropped that quickly. They've been working on this since the month of January. It's only moved a half a percentage point. So when Mester came out today and said we're likely to have those interest rate spikes into 2023, yeah. In fact, let's reread her comment because she actually doesn't say 2023. She says we may not get to the inflationary target of 2% for subsequent years. Wow. Wall Street not saying that, saying another narrative, and that's why I said Wall Street is going to crash, and it has. They said one interest rate spike, and that's it. The Federal Reserve is going to pivot, and that's why Jay Powell and company says, "Oh boy, you got to listen to me." Let's look at the second page of the worksheets. Here they are. This is a big page to keep track of the stimulus checks that you apply for and how many months and how many checks. Check A is a wonderful check, the weatherizing grant check. It's one check in one category of checks. But check B and check C are two categories and lots of checks. They're individually about 100 checks because why? Viewers on average are getting 14 months of them. And check A is, let's say, your mortgage and all your utilities, 4 utilities. That's 5 times 14. That's a lot of checks. Check C, the same thing, but you have 12 places to reach out to in the membership newsletter. Then we go over check E through K. Well, it's one category, one check. L, one category, one check. M, one category, but lots of checks. Spelly got check A and lots of check C. Lynn Glenn last weekend revealed to me she got check C for utilities, 12 months of it, and she got some check C for rent. Dragon, longtime viewer and longtime volunteer, does great work. Thank you for your work, volunteer Dragon, has gotten $140,000. Last weekend we had 2 weekends ago, we had one viewer get 14 months of rent. Day before that, another viewer got 14 months of rent. Another viewer before that got 12 months of utilities. You deserve these big sums of money. And then one of the big success stories, we've had a lot of them, a viewer out of Florida getting 80 to 100 checks. She had filled out this page of the worksheet, just forgot she had filled it out. And what did she apply for? Check B. And what did she get? She got check B for her mortgage, but not just 1 month, 18 months. Oh boy. And then when she looked at her notes, she also applied for all her utilities. Oh my goodness, that is 5 months of that is 5 checks per month approximately. 18 months, that is 100 checks. Wow, congratulations to her. You could be the next success story, become a member. The next page of the worksheets, gas prices. So international price of Brent crude up about 2 or 3 cents every night. With the exception of last night, it pulled down maybe 2 cents, and domestic unleaded down about 10 to 20 cents a day across the board. Oh, wow. That's why you want to become a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, and Calcino VIP. You know, the Mester comments tonight are really a shocking breaking news report. Why? Because it clearly shows that the Federal Reserve is watching Wall Street like you and I have. We were really shocked. Over the last 2 weeks, where they said Fed pivot is going to happen, where they're basically saying the Federal Reserve is going to stop doing interest rate spikes and leave inflation at 8%. Why? Federal Reserve would never leave inflation at 8%. That's not what they're established for. They're established to get price stability in the U.S. economy. Otherwise, it becomes entrenched, which means you get used to paying $5 a gallon for milk. Number two, the Federal Reserve governors clearly realized that Wall Street was not listening. That's why they've all repeated the same expression for some time, for now 3 days. And they'll likely continue it. They've clearly told one another to say, keep on using that expression for some time. But I think Mester's comments are really what was needed. For some time, what does that mean? We really don't know what it means. I've been saying to December because, maybe they'd get inflation 2% by December because that's what the Federal Reserve really said. Now she says, no, that may carry us into 2023. I would personally prefer if the Federal Reserve did, or the other governors at least, did what Mester did, which is basically say, for some time, and then say, for some time is not to the end of this year, we're not going to get inflation to 2%, we're going to stay with this potentially past the end of this year, and we may go into, as she said, subsequent years. I think they need to say that more clearly. And I also think they need to say that what Bowman says was a similar interest rate spikes of what we've done before. This, my friends, is absolutely why you need to get that forced stimulus check in every U.S. state. That forced stimulus check in every U.S. state is so important, and the big second half, we're going to go over those huge checks. Nearly 50 to 100 new members in the last 24 hours. You need to become a member. And the big second half, we're going to go over the payouts that viewers have gotten to these checks. I want to congratulate viewer Margaret, who becomes the first triple Purple Hawk. Margaret became the first triple Purple Hawk of this broadcasting family. She became a member of LA2 and a member of LALATE overnight. That adds to her membership also on LALATE1. Yes, 3 consecutive memberships at the same time. Congratulations to Margaret. Congratulations to her if she's in the live chat, and you give her congratulations as well. The question is, who will be the next triple member? Want to become a member? Go right on this video and become a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. And the big second half, we're going to go over all these incredible checks. Plus, you'll see my narrative, and we'll go over the question of this recession versus not recession. And we'll also go over, this issue of pervasive inflation into 2023. This is really a major shocker. A lot to go over in the big second half. Your economy, your recession, your inflation, your benefit raise, and your housing market, plus your stimulus. We'll go over more about that in the big second half. It's Evenings LA. See you back in 60 seconds.
If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE.
And the excitement continues right now in a beautiful second half for August 31st, 2022. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, thank you for joining me on another big broadcast. Did you become a member like Margaret on 3 channels? Well, at least join 1, and all the channels deliver that membership newsletter to you Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alerts. Check A, B, and C are the first 3 checks for you to get. And we're going to go over those first 3 checks starting right now. Check A is a $6,500 to $12,000 forced stimulus check in every U.S. state. This is the check that Spelly got. It's so wonderful. It's the Weatherizing Grant check. Go onto this video, join the channel. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Then get that membership newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alerts. Go down to check A and go get these big sums of money. Then go to get check B. It's $15,000 to $80,000 of a forced stimulus check in every U.S. state. Single individual, $75,000, let's go get it. Married couple, $150,000, let's go get it. And if you rent, if you own, if you're on benefits or you're not, go get that incredible check. It is the wonderful check B. How do you get it? Did I say rent? No, not if you rent. But if you on benefits, absolutely. Go into this video, become a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Go down to check B. Choose your state, and go right in and apply. Just wonderful. Look at that check B. That is the check the viewer out of Florida got. Incredible. Check A and check B. That is $100,000 right there. Go get some check B. It is $24,000 to $45,000 a third stimulus in every U.S. state. It is a residue third stimulus, but it's still being paid out under 4 stimulus. This is the check that Lynn Glenn got 12 months of utilities. The viewer last week getting the whopping 14 months of rent, another viewer getting 14 months of rent, another viewer getting 12 months of utilities. And it's part of the checks that Spelly and Dragon got at $148,000. How do you get that check? See, go into this video, join the channel, Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Casino VIP. Then go down to where it says check C. It tells you who to call, what to say, and how to say it. Just so great across the board. You deserve these big sums of money. Now, Check C has been around for a while. Purple Hawks have been cleaning up all these incredible Check C's for a while. It's a residue of third stimulus, and you deserve these big sums of money. Let's look at some success stories. From Nisi all the way up to Elizabeth, you deserve this money for rent. Go get it. And what about those utilities? Look at that. From Angela all the way up to Nancy, go get these incredible checks for utilities. And then for Snap, Mark's brother-in-law getting massive sums of money, $250,000 over 10 years. Look at the money for the combinations. Nisi at $23,000 all the way up to Nancy. Go get these incredible sums of money. You deserve these sums of money. Nisi was at $23,000. Now she's at $50,000. Mark was at $32,000. Then he went to this graphic. Then he went to $100,000. Then he went to $166,000. Lorraine was at $105,000, and now she's at $155,000. But Purple Hawks pounce. They really pounce, Purple Hawks. And that's why I call them Purple Hawks, because you pounce when there's new money. And as soon as I announced 2 Sundays ago that Congress had passed 7 new categories of checks, Purple Hawks were in that primetime special and immediately joined this channel on the next Monday that got those checks in the membership newsletter. Those checks are checks E through K. I'm going to go over all those incredible checks starting right now. They're down the membership newsletter class A and C. Let's look at those incredible checks right now. E is $7,500. F is $4,000. Then we have G, 30% off. We had H, $2,000. We have I, $8,000. J, $8,000. And K, $14,000. Just incredible. And then we go over to L and M that joined this channel last week, because I'm always fighting to find new checks for you. L is about $100,000 of interest rate free money for the purchase of a home. And M is closing costs, which can be a lot of different checks for you in buying that home, about $4,000. Wow. So there you go. Check A through C, about $100,000 to $200,000. Then we have E through K. You can add it up. That's about $50,000 to $100,000. And then L and M, about $104,000 on average. Wow. You deserve these sums of money. How do you get them? Again, go under this video and subscribe. Then go under this video and become a member, Purple Hawk, Purple Power Casino VIP member of any of the 3 broadcast channels, this family. And then make sure you hit the alert button at the bell at the front of this channel so you have it set to all notifications, all on, because you don't want to miss any of these monies across the board. Let's remember that newsletter is so straightforward. Get that incredible newsletter delivered via YouTube alerts Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. YouTube alerts. And this is the YouTube alert. There it is, sent by YouTube to you, written by me. That's what the YouTube alert looks like. Membership newsletter. Go down till you see the guy, past the guy, click the link and go right and get these sums of money. We'll go over more about those sums of money in just a second. But that lifetime stimulus has been huge for viewers of this channel. That lifetime stimulus is needed with all these breaking details happening left and right. And those breaking details happening left and right are really the slowing of the economy. Messer's comments tonight are so shocking. And those comments are so telling that if the economy will endure interest rate spikes for many years to come, boy, you really have to get those monies. Tonight, I want to go over a couple things with you. And one of those things I want to go over with you is recession versus no recession. Well, there is a recession. It's sort of ridiculous to even be debating this. But a recession is defined as an economic term as 2 negative quarters of GDP growth. We posted that. If we look at the corporate earnings, look at tonight's recording at least, downward guidance for so many companies, downward guiding of recession because they're missing on profits and revenue, top and bottom, downward guiding. Do you think they're just downward guiding at all just because? No, because the recession is really hurting their bottom line. We also have a recession really manifesting itself in consistent inflation, non-improving unemployment claims on a regular basis, not significantly because they're basically flat. And ultimately, I don't like when an analyst uses one data point, which is the lowest unemployment rate since 1969, to say there's no recession because that labor rate is so low. Tonight, some of them were trying to do again because the job opening number was so big. It's a job opening number. Let's be very clear about it. It means that jobs available, not jobs created. It's very different. If the job openings, it may be because people quit. Because people have been quitting jobs on left and right, and that's why there's currently more jobs to applicants than seen on the channel before. That's why it's important to get these big sums of money. What's also important to understand is that these big sums of money are available now, and I do believe that that stimulus stampede will take a different narrative in the next few days. I'm starting to see it. I featured it on Afternoons Today. What is that narrative I think it could take on? Some people may be very upset that they were betting upon doing nothing and getting massive wads of cash, and that's not happening anytime soon. And then they come here and realize, wait, you're getting big sums of money? I should get big sums of money, but without having to do anything. That ain't happening. Never did happen until this year. First stimulus was you had to do something. Second stimulus was you're going to have to do something. And their narrative of not doing anything ain't going to work. There's some people who don't want to even take the initiative of watching the whole video. They want to just read the title and think they know the narrative. That's not how it works. You got to know what the checks are. And the viewers of this channel who have won are winning more on a daily basis. You're getting bigger, bolder, more achievable. You're reaching more achievements. You're getting more successes, while other people are getting left further behind because they didn't want to know. Ultimately, it's still time to wake up and join the Purple Power family. It's still time to realize, wait, what I was doing was wrong. Becoming a member is important because there are checks right now. No one is sending out a wad of checks just to everyone and just because. And that's what's important to understand tonight. Ultimately, I do believe that may cause some tensions by people who waited around just to expect it to land and then see it land because they live in a donut land. Ultimately, people who live in a donut land are not happy with themselves tonight, and they're not likely happy with you that have succeeded so well across the board. What I need you to do, however, is stay positive, focus, and ignore the negativity outside there. And I do believe that as you continue to succeed and do better, then people who have done nothing are going to be more, well, unhappy with the situation. And unhappiness should not be infectious. It should just be ignored. That's my commentary tonight. Meantime, what should we expect for this new week? Well, last week, 2 new stimulus checks on this channel, check L and M. The week before that, 7-inch stimulus checks, E through K. We don't know if there'll be new stimulus checks, but if there are, they will be featured on this channel across the board. Finally, throughout the day, I've been giving a lot of tough love. If you missed that tough love, let me just recap it shortly. You need to catch up on everything that's important. A forced stimulus check is in every U.S. state. It's not from your states. It's from the federal government. The federal government always sends out the stimulus checks, and the federal government is sending out this money. It's lots of money from the federal government, written by the federal government, under federal government law. Number 2, it's important to understand where you learn about this information in the membership newsletter. The newsletter is a source of information, and it's only achievable by becoming a member. When is it published? 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alerts. What is a YouTube alert? Sent by YouTube, not sent by LALATE.com. Sent via YouTube. But the one at 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time is the one you want to open. It's exactly at that time, no nightly. If you're a member to LA1, LA2, or LA3, you're going to get that incredible newsletter. Then the worksheets, which viewers really like, in the membership newsletter, delivered Monday through Friday. Go down in that newsletter. Newsletter has at the top Brent crude, price of gasoline, and then the worksheets. Then it goes into check A through C, then it goes into check E through K, then it goes into checks L and M. And ultimately, I'm so excited for you. Viewership was really on fire yesterday. You were really listening and learning. You got to watch the entire videos because there is so much happening on a regular basis. And you can't miss a respective video because look what happened today. I mean, look at what happened today. We started the day with the comments by Cleveland Fed President, not Cleveland, but that was New York Fed President John Williams. And then by the end of the day, we ended with Cleveland Fed President Loretta Mester. Her comments clearly more detailed than Williams, saying sometime more interest rates, but sometimes she's saying, get ready for this to continue into 2023 or subsequent years. It's so important. It's really important. And ultimately, I'm here with you mornings through Fridays, Mondays through Sundays, mornings through evenings across this board. The programming on Evenings LALATE is brand new nightly, 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. At 6 o'clock is Countdown, Street and Stimulus, 7 o'clock. 8 o'clock Extra, 9 o'clock Sunset. The program continues after that. Then we jump into Early mornings LATE at 4 a.m., mornings countdown at 7 a.m., mornings LATE at 9 a.m., and then we go into noontime before we go into our afternoon schedule programming. I don't want you to miss any of this money across the board. Finally, let's understand what we've seen this week, and let's understand what we saw with Williams. Williams said yesterday, we need to have more restrictive policy for some time. This is not going to be that we're going to be going for a short period of time and then change course. So he's clearly responding to Wall Street. We're not going to just do this for a short period of time and then pivot. I think the demand far exceeds supply, and so we need to do real interest rates above zero. We need to have a more restrictive policy, and we're not there yet. We have the housing prices falling dramatically this last week, the biggest decline since 2011, and that's even declining month to month, June, July. Housing affordability, however, is still the lowest since 30 years ago. Pending home sales fell as well, down 19.9% in the month of July compared to July 2021. The worst since July since 2011. And then when we look at the housing recessionary comments from the National Association of Home Builders, very blunt. Tighter monetary policy for the Federal Reserve and persistent construction costs have brought on a housing recession. National Association of Home Builders Chief Economist Robert Dietz. What's important to understand is that when we're talking about recession, it takes a while to formulate across the nation, in every state, and in every industries. People have been trying to say there is no recession. Tonight, they realize they have not won with that narrative. What were they looking at? They were looking at that Wall Street chart of stocks that fell to the lowest lows of nearly a year and a half, almost 2 years, in June, and then went straight up since June, straight up in July, straight up in August. I said, don't get deceived. It's going to crash. Wall Street has not embedded the risk of additional interest rate spikes from the Federal Reserve starting in September. And then it crashed. 1,000 points last Friday, 400, 500 points yesterday, a lot of points today. And it's going to continue to crash because we're betting against the people who determine your financial policy, your monetary policy, the Federal Reserve. Don't ever bet against the Federal Reserve because they do exactly what they say. And that ultimately, it's important to listen to those people. It's important to stay with LALATE. I was the first to record that the U.S. economy would suffer pervasive, consistent inflation starting in December 2021, when the Federal Reserve and Jay Powell said it was going to be temporary transitory. They got it really wrong. And they also said it was only going to be 2 to 3%. Then I said the U.S. economy will suffer a recession. And I said that in spring of this year. And I said the recession is going to continue for 2 years. It's happened. I said 2 weeks ago that the narrative from Wall Street that there's going to be a Fed pivot and the Federal Reserve is going to no longer interest rate spike after October, and that even September, maybe 50 basis point, is just hideously wrong. And the longer they keep on repeating that false narrative, Wall Street's going to crash. Well, it did. Nightly, it's crashing. Daily, it's crashing. And that is a very important situation at hand. It's what we lead with data on this channel. If you lead with data, not analysis, you hear those comments from the Federal Reserve, the governors, the president, over the last 2 weeks. Well, tonight we heard something far more detailed. Mester's comments tonight from Cleveland are far more detailed than we've ever seen, saying get ready for this for more than just some time, or actually defining what some time is, and some time is not a few months. I've reminded you that inflation down from 8.5% to 2%, it's not going to take a walk in the park. It's not going to take a few days. It's not going to take a few months. It takes a long time. We've been doing it since January, and that 2% has not been achieved. I look forward to seeing you throughout the night. And remember, jump into LALATE Live. LALATE Live on this channel starts every night at about 5:45, right before countdown. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, God bless. Stay informed, stay focused, have a beautiful evening, and stay with LALATE for more.